Prosper Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Mr. Mays Davenport, would you lead our invocation?
Father, we just thank you so much for this time off this summer for our teachers and students. And Lord, we are so thankful for the time of refreshment and nourishment. And Father, we just know that while the teachers are out and the students are out, the administrators are working hard during these summer months to prepare for a new year. And Lord, we just pray for that time for them, the planning that goes into that, and the preparation that it would pay off, and that as the students come back in August and the teachers, that we would be prepared for that and ready to go. And Father, we just pray that you watch over the teacher or the students and their parents as they're literally all over the world this summer as they represent Prosper. And Father, we're just so thankful for the blessings that we have upon us. And we pray for this meeting, that we make wise decisions and be good stewards of the resources that you've entrusted with us. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we have one participant to speak to us tonight during open forum. Remind Jeremy Harpole, Mr. Harpole, that audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the public comment portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless requested by the presiding officer. Persons who wish to participate should sign up. We've already done that. No presentation shall exceed 3 minutes, and delegations of more than 3 persons shall appoint one person to present their views before the board. Good. I think that's what we need to read. Before that, as you know, probably it's not an agenda item. We don't have an opportunity to respond to what you say, but we certainly would love to hear what you have to say, Jeremy. So the floor is yours.
I'm normally long-winded, but I can promise you I won't take 3 minutes and 3 seconds. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for giving your time and your commitment to our kids here at PHS, and I really do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart because I know that takes a lot of time. And so I do think that. I am Jeremy Harpole, and as most of you know, I've been in town in my entire life, all 44 years. There's probably nobody in this room that's been here longer, I can promise you. I don't know why I'm nervous. I know every one of y'all. Nothing is more important to me than this community and this community's success. The reason I have chosen to be here tonight is to discuss the way, or better yet, rumors that are going around about the way the new high school is going to open. I have previously met with Dr. Watkins and trust that the best decision will be made from what I gather from our meeting. I respect him with high honors. There is a large group of senior and junior parents that strongly feel that the juniors and seniors should have a right to choose what school they should attend. Most of these kids have been together, competed together, and fought together since they started school. We as parents strongly feel that it is not what the district, if that's what the district decides to do, it'll be a detriment to most programs across the board. Many rumors are already floating around about transferring to private schools if that takes place. I cannot sit back and see this happen. My family, and especially my sons, are the most important to me. I challenge each of you to put yourselves in our shoes. How would you feel? How would you want this to be done? And how would your kids feel if they were to have to change their school whenever they're a junior or a senior? I ask that you please take in consideration every possible solution to make this work for our kids here at PHS. I thank you for your time, and once again, I thank you for your commitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Very good. All right, moving to the consent agenda.
You can see the minutes there. And the updates on the projects. Getting's close.
Schools look closer than the stadium.
Shh. The stadium will be done. Middle School 4, which is all Fish Trap, to open in 2020. If funding is available. Have a caveat and everything. And Rock Hill, it's starting to take some shape.
What's that little building on the south end of that property?
That's probably the transportation depot.
that's right.
Yeah, the bus depot.
Gotcha.
To remind,
Sitting down there.
Yeah.
waiting on what they-
we'll have one south, one west, and one east, and then the transportation facility here.
Okay.
The other high school sites will not have those. That almost looks like a graphic.
All of them kind of look, they all kind of look.
They really do. When will they put the logo on?
Well, I didn't need to do that. The, on the outside, I'm not sure when that's slated. The elevator went in last week, beginning of last week, so now we have all the Dectronics people in there doing all the technology and scoreboard stuff this week. That's a 2-week, if everything goes well, project, so they're getting all that in and getting the training done. You're talking about right there?
Right there, yep.
Yeah. It's gonna be the no-name stadium. It's community room. It's a good view from the community room.
How many will be in the community room? Is that 300, is that the number?
We
somewhere
were
around there?
between 4 and 450. So really, every banquet and event can fit in there except the football banquet as it's currently configured, and maybe the band banquet. That might be too many as well.
Would that be a space to rent out to the public?
We're trying to figure out how exactly we're going to use that. Right, I mean, right now, for example, we have every pre-game, for every home game, something already scheduled in there. So we'll have to see what's going to be available to be able to be rented out for that. That's the.
This thing's ready to go.
Yeah, it is.
Anybody swim in it yet?
I almost jumped in the other day, but it's got a, there was a guy in there doing something, I forget what he was doing. He wasn't doing backstroke, he was working, but I mean, it's ready to go. We're just waiting on we're just doing some cosmetic things in there right now.
Yeah, we just need to be dangling on our feet and
Yeah.
That's
exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That should be the group picture.
Then at the stadium, do
We
something.
could do our,
Yeah.
we could have our team building hours there.
Yeah, wouldn't that be good?
Cannonball and splash it.
We do have a diving well.
Diving, diving.
Okay. Well, that's a consent agenda. We need a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, there we go. So Deborah, ladies
I'll
first.
second.
Second by Jana. Sorry, ladies. All in favor? Okay. Pretty good.
All right. Mr. Craig?
Just a brief presentation on the financial reports as of June. Very little changes have been made. I'll just go through here real briefly for you. This chart here is our investments by bank. As you can see in the right-hand column, we currently 1% increase. This chart shows the investments by funds. As you can see, the general fund there. Also, the other increase is our debt service, nearly over $7 million in the fund balance compared to last year. As you can see, the investments in our bond funds keep dwindling down as you can expect. Again, we're averaging about $20 million a month in expenditures just in our construction sites. This shows our total operating revenue for the year. We currently the local source of $100 million in the second column compared to 79 million last year. And our local source of revenue budget was 99 million. Now we're at 100.9. That's mainly due to tax collections. And it's 17% higher than it was a year ago this time. State and federal, I'll show you a little bit more about this. We should be receiving our state funds, our balance, considerably balance, about $7 to $8 more million. It will not happen until September when they confirm our total attendance as well as our total tax collection. And they do that every year, but we're still expecting $8 to $9 million right on budget based upon our current ADA enrollment. As you can see, our total revenue budget is 126 million. 118 million has been collected as of June 30th, and still 2 more months. Even with that 9 million, we'll be way over what we originally budgeted for. This shows our total tax collections for the year. As you can see, our total original levy was $133 million. We've collected over 137 million, 102% total tax collection over what our projected was. Last year we collected 101.3, so we're a much higher rate increase than last year. This is our ag rollback. As you can see, we're very close to what we had last year. Still far below what we had 2 years ago, almost $4.5 million 2 years ago. But we should hit hopefully about 1.5 million this year. And this one shows our expenditures. Our expenditures are right on target. As you can see, our total expenditures total for this year is a little over $100 million for the first time, which represents a 27% increase from last year. This shows you where most of the expenditures are. Again, payroll is 84.2% last year. This year it's 86.4%, and that's basically where we were expecting it to be. Compared to total expenditures, we're almost at 80% as of this month. Last year was 78.23%. This will show you by functions, and this is where the budget is based upon. We divided these categories. As you can see, there's very little changes. Most of the increase is what we were expecting. We did hire more people after the year started, but we'll still be below what our projected budget is.
Rusty, do you have any idea how much you'll be below on expenses?
I always like to be conservative, but I'm still looking at least $3 million between the payroll and even operating expenses. And again, our revenue does not include the grant, the $5 million grant that we've talked about. So with the $5 million grant and $3 to $4 million in operating, we could possibly see almost a $10 million increase. This is our food service. It's tracking a little short than what it was last year. It could be some invoices overlapping between months, but I don't really feel like that we'll have any issues in meeting our guarantee agreement at the end of this year. Debt service, as you can see, we're looking at 41 million. We've already collected 41 million compared to 40 million that was budgeted, and we have already excess funds to meet our August 15 obligation. Our athletic fund, and just real quickly, this is what I was showing you. This is our 2018 bond that we have actually basically spent 100% of that. I didn't go to the next month. And then the 2019, as you can see, we've spent $22 million in May and 21.7 million in June. So we spent 22% of the total bond. And just real briefly, give you an idea where we're at on total project costs on Hayes Middle School, total actual cost to date. That includes construction, supplies, equipment, furniture, and fixtures. So we're right on target with all these here. Rock Hill, as you can see, stadium, total actual costs altogether, including all the expenses, are still under $50 million. Natatorium, and with the start of with the completion of FUR, you can see we're almost 90% or more completed. Any questions over the project? Thank you.
Questions for Rusty? All right, it is a item that requires a motion to approve the financial investment tax report for June 2019. Mays Davenport moves. Second. Kelly Cavender. All in favor? Aye. Very good.
Ms. Fulmer?
Thank you. I was hoping after all of the legislative talk that we had, we spent months and months looking at everything, that we would have amazing news. What we have is okay news. We're going to be fine for 1920, and there's some challenges headed beyond that with growth that you are very well aware of. So there's a lot of slides here. I am not going to go a deep dive into everyone. I'm going to go pretty fast through these and just hit on some of the high points. And of course, if you always have questions, but we'll have August as well. So a lot of the revenue projections are quite final, and I'll talk a little bit of that as we go through. So maintenance and operations, these are just your budget assumptions that drive the majority of your revenue. Your enrollment, 16,700, a growth of 2,000 from prior year. Student ADA of 15,800. That's a 14% increase. And as well, our property values, a 21% increase with an expectation of $1.5 billion in growth. We're expecting any day now our final July values are a little bit early. So I'm very excited to see that, make sure that those hold steady, because that's what we need for these revenue projections.
Was that the number we needed, 1.5 billion a year, or was it 2.1?
You mean to keep up with the
Yes.
growth? It was closer to 2.5.
2.5, okay.
So we're about $1 billion shy right now.
Just $1 billion shy.
Yeah, just $1 billion.
Bill, finish your house.
Doing what I can.
Again, this is just a net change in different types of revenue from 1819 to 1920. Would like to point out the recapture number, $2 million current year. Our original estimates before House Bill 3 was recapture was going to be about $3.5 million. So the change in this did lower recapture to $600,000 so far. So that was good news for the district.
Now, I
Here's
will
a-
say,
I'm sorry.
it's a wolf in sheep's clothing type thing. They're taking away, they've made this look prettier, but they've done away with a lot of other allotments. The state didn't really add much money to public ed. They took from other areas and played with some math to artificially inflate it in some areas, and recapture is one of those things. So
You probably heard the basic allotment went from 5,140 to 6,160. Yes, I carry that number around with me in my head. But they got that number increased by simply doing away with some other allocations that already existed, like the gifted and talented allotment and those kinds of things. So there was a lot of shift. It gives district more flexibility, but I hear stories that we're even going to have to do more reporting because now they don't trust us because there's no, anyway, it's all awesome.
give those two numbers that you just spat out again.
5,140 was the basic allotment previously. Now it's 6,160.
That sounds pretty good, yet we are going down $172 per child. So when you hear something like that, that sounds encouraging until you put all the math together and see where it ends up for us. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And we'll see a little bit too on another slide. Prosper ISD just seems to sort of be an outlier when it comes to fixing or patching the state funding formulas, and we continue to get hold harmless and patch after patch after patch, and so it's no change in House Bill 3. This is a big change that we're all been aware of, but I wanted to show you what it was going to look like for our district. Previously, we've been a $1.17 M&O tax rate for quite a long time with a 50-cent debt service rate. So next year, tax rate compression, we're going to go down in M&O, and this is just stated there's no TREs for any district this next year. They're prohibited. Our tax rate for M&O will be $1.684. That's a very specific 4 decimal point number, but that's exactly what TEA said that we would be. Again, the tax rate would stay the same. So the tax rates always float independently, as you know. I know a lot of taxpayers will get confused by that. To them, they see $1.56 or $1.67 on their tax bill. One of the things there at the bottom that I just wanted to mention, that going forward, there's tax rate compression in future years based on statewide growth, anticipated growth, and also local growth. We are not sure how that's going to affect Prosper ISD specifically. There's sort of right now the assumption is that it won't affect us substantially, but they are still working that out. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this could even fluctuate. Maybe our tax rate could possibly float depending on our growth over time.
I appreciate her optimism. There is, with what we know today, a TRE in our future. How quick of a future that holds, we'll see. In order to maintain what we've developed and grown here, there's going to be a TRE that's going to be coming. Otherwise, our number will continue to go south. And then, we've said for a long time, the state has for the years tried their best to bring Prosper down to the rest of the state, and House Bill 3 did that. So now it's going to be put back to the community if they want to get above the state again or be one of everybody. We'll see how that rolls forward.
So additional funding changes, just to spell these out. We have a formula transition grant now that's going to be $7.5 million. The very frustrating piece is every time Dr. Watkins and I would put in something new, we have additional children in this category, all it would do would be to lower our transition grant. We didn't get any extra money in the formula fund. It's a seesaw. It's the new ASATR, Additional State Aid for Tax Reduction. So it's not going to be the case that going forward, as we have growth, that we're just going to see that money come to us. It'll lower the transition grant as we move forward. And so it also has an expiration date. Of course it does. $4 million of this grant expires at the end of 2021. So that was just a biennium that they gave the money to us. And then the rest of it's going to expire 23-24. So we have a funding cliff. In addition to losing money per student, we have a huge funding cliff that they built in for us. So these are some of the challenges that we look okay in 1920, but going forward, we're really going to have to figure out how to fill these gaps. I need to talk to you about eliminating the benefit of the lag. Our first rating depends upon me talking to our board about the benefit of the lag, which they took away, ironically. So we shifted from using prior year values in our state funding formula to current year values. That sounds great and it sounds like it would make sense, but it takes the comptroller a very long time to go through those values and make sure that they agree with them. So using prior year values made a lot of sense in the way the state, it doesn't move very quickly, as we know. So when districts are growing, you have your tax collections for current year, but the state sees your prior year values and you get the benefit of that lag in time in your revenue. For Prosper ISD, that was about $19 million benefit. It was very strong for us. So going to current year values, all fast growth districts knew immediately what this meant, that our ability to get revenue going forward and benefit from that was eroded. And so now that we're going to get check mark on our first report because we had that conversation.
Well, and again, an example of no new money, the state got a benefit from the lack of lag because they had an infusion of about $3.8 billion by just changing the math.
Mm-hmm.
So that 3.8, if the state's getting an infusion of that, that means that came from districts across the state of Texas. So it's just
it
Frustrating.
was going to work for 2 years. And so that's what we see a lot of this is it's going to work for the biennium, and then there's going to have a lot of work for them to do if they're going to fix anything they broke when they come back again. This is a kitchen sink. This has got everything in it. It's a beautiful representation that Mr. Craig put together. Our local revenues, the projections for 1920, we're projecting that we're going to have $137.5 million in revenue before the formula transition grant. However, that's deducting the $5 million hardship grant from the previous formulas not working for Prosper ISD. So you see a pattern here. For a total revenue for next year only of $145 million. Salaries, there's going to be another slide that talks a lot about a breakdown of the salary increases for next year. The bulk of it is new positions just for growth to keep the district on its feet. So for total expenditure projections of $152 million, unfortunately, there's a slight budget deficit of just under $7 million for 1920 anticipated. However, we know historically we are not going to spend every penny of the expenditure budget that we have. And we hope that we've been conservative on the revenue. There's a lot of moving parts this year, and I really hope we're being conservative, but the shift to current year values has made all districts really unsure about that number that we put in there. The compensation, as you see here, new personnel, new salary costs, $16.4 million. That's from 288 new FTEs. And that was not as many as the district and campuses needed for operations. $25 million total for new payroll expenditures. And this is the debt portion of this. This is just debt payments for 1920 as $47.8 million. Tax rate flat. And we have the budget projections so far for tax revenue. Child nutrition. These are very familiar to you. Challenges of fast growth. Just want to put these on here for the community to see. And, you know, everybody has the three-legged stool. We're trying to budget for our existing facilities to maintain them, to grow your people, and also to maintain salary so that you can recruit and retain. And the number, there's a leadership retreat recently, the number that Mr. Bradley threw out as far as the number of staff that we're going to need in the next 3 years is astronomical. Recruitment is just going to be our primary focus because we just won't survive without excellent staff in the district. And again, some of the challenges that we've already seen. Thank you very much for letting me fly through that.
That's very helpful. There's no action on that, right? That's just an update?
Yeah, later. DEC local. We are updating this, and I mentioned it in your packet about adding local leave and better defining the sick bank that we have, and also adding bereavement leave. So I think these are positive adds given and a part of our strategic plan about social, emotional health of students and staff, all of us for that matter. And this certainly folds right in with that. So I recommend that you approve the updates for DEC local.
Any questions on that? Okay, that requires a motion.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Jana.
Second.
All right, second, Bill. All in favor? Very good.
This is to replace the existing backup system for the small tune of $175,000. It seems like pocket change compared to the millions we just got through talking about. But we got to be adequately backed up. We got too much going on, and that would be catastrophic if we weren't in a good place on backup. So I recommend that you approve this.
So maybe I should know this, but do we have backups that are not in Prosper? Like, do we have a data center in Austin? Have we thought about doing that? Is that something?
I'll let Fernando speak to that. Do you hear the question?
No, can you repeat it one more time for me,
I assume
please?
this is data, or this is
Offsite.
Offsite, have we thought about doing offsite like in Austin or backup being somewhere other than
Local.
local?
Yes, that's correct. We have considered using the Region 10 Service Center. However, we have the central administration and the Baker Elementary Schools are our two data centers, so they mirror each other.
So here and Baker?
Yes, but those are active. If one goes down, the other
Right.
catches up to everything. In addition to that, we have also backups at Cockrell and here. But we want to change, as we build more schools, how we do the backup system. So the long-range plan just calls for a backup system today for the next 3 to 5 years, but we are considering offsite or some sort of vault, either within the district because we have the network for that, or using our Region 10 Service Center.
How often do you test that backup rollover? Like, do you roll over to Baker periodically to make sure it works seamlessly?
We try. Actually, there has been a few times where we have done it without the intention to, and nobody has noticed it. That's the
Good.
idea.
And it works?
Yes.
Okay.
So far it's working, which is a very good thing for us.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah.
To that.
Okay.
It's just we don't advertise it too much.
Great.
So the quick answer to your question is no,
No.
we're local.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not all Prosper, we got some in McKinney.
Sure.
But, from a region standpoint, we're local, so we certainly need to.
I mean, you have a tornado come through.
You're right. We need to
East to west
certainly
or west to
evaluate
east.
outside our bubble here.
Actually, that's exactly the approach we're taking. The same way that Admin and Baker are far away and they are east to west, now we are looking at north-south approaches. That's on point. That's what we're looking
Perfect.
to.
Okay, thank you. This is a item requiring approval to purchase a replacement for the existing backup system for the district. All right, Deborah, missing motion. All right, thank you there. All in favor? Is that Michelle or Jana? I couldn't even tell. Who said
Michelle.
Michelle?
And then we got computer replacement at Rogers. I thought we were late in the game, but this is really ahead of schedule. And this is to, I believe, lock in more advantageous pricing as it was communicated to me. So I recommend that you approve that amount not to exceed.
Any questions on, okay, any questions on that? No? Okay, motion from Jana, second from Mays. All in favor?
And we just need to make sure we're clean on this. We've been doing this kind of stuff, but we need to officially approve this resolution that allows us to do it, so it's not seen as a gift of public funds. I think the tally on it this past year was 73,500, 800, something like that. So I recommend that you approve the resolution to support that.
73,000?
So we paid out 73,000 for AP tests?
We will in the
We will.
fall.
Okay.
From
People,
what
they made a what, three or
Three
or higher.
better, right? Or four?
Four or fives. Fours or
Four or
fives.
fives. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's less than we would have been paying.
Oh, yeah, if we
Before.
were doing, yeah, you're right, because we used to,
Pay for
for
everything.
passing, we used to do for threes
Yeah,
as well, so.
okay.
So move.
Okay, thank you, Mays. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jana. All in favor? Great.
Okay, I don't know which, Ms. Fulmer, is this you? Property casualty insurance, who's? This is all bad news, but I'll let her speak to it.
No, is the updated one in the dice folder? So the district went out for bid for property casualty insurance. We'd had TASB for a very long time, and we're increasing in values 45%, going up to $572 million of assets to provide coverage for it. That's not even counting vehicles. So we went out for bid, sent the bid out to 11 vendors, and even engaged a consultant to help us with this, because if we had 11 responses, we were going to need a lot of help to understand the nuances of this kind of insurance. And unfortunately, the district only received 2 responses. And of those 2, one of them did not provide any casualty coverage, no liability. It was property only. So TASB was our sole bid that was willing to provide both of those for us. So the premium is currently $484,000 with all of the new facilities, which are substantial. The natatorium, the new everything. The new premium is going to be $812,000 for 1920. And so, and again, our consultant said that given the growth and the amount of dollars, that was a very reasonable growth estimate. They're really not increasing that percentage. So,
It is.
Normal thing for not to give bids in?
according to, so he gave us the verbiage that we use on the transmitter here. There's just been a lot of losses lately over the last 24 months, and insurance companies are sort of really reevaluating what kinds of property they're going to insure. And I just think all of the damage in this part of the state, and then you also have to take into consideration San Antonio, which apparently they had huge hail losses last year. I didn't even know about that. And the Houston area, so statewide, I think these companies are just really taking a lot of losses.
We attacked it more aggressively than we ever have, hiring a consultant to do it, and it just is what it is right now.
Don't have many options. Okay, we have one.
Yeah, what's the term?
This is from September 1 start date, but that's just for a single year, $812,000 for coverage.
It'd be nice if we could lock them in longer now, but we understand.
Yeah.
They evaluate it every year.
They got to, if our,
Right.
but our assets are growing so fast, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
So we do this every year, correct?
Yes, we do. We get a new quote from them every year, and we are always adding to that schedule of assets as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
Gotta
so,
be huge. High school. Yeah.
So what was the turnaround time that the, like, RFP went out to?
we gave them a month.
Bids were due?
We gave them a month on that one. So we're just disappointing. I was just hoping that we would get some more companies to bid on us.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That requires a motion to approve the property casualty insurance for PISD.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Michelle.
I'll second.
Second, thank you, Bill. All in favor? Okay. Okay, I think we are ready to move into executive session. We need a motion for that. Jana,
Second.
second Mays, all in favor? You're certainly welcome to stick around. We'll come back out of executive session if we need to vote on anything coming out of that. I wouldn't if I were you, but you're welcome to. Thank you, everybody, for being here.